Assessing your MotoE plyometric program. Thank you so much for going through all the exercises in the assessment. You may have noticed that they tend to be a little bit difficult, especially by the time you get to the last exercise, and I want to explain a little bit as to why they're so difficult. First and foremost, you're doing what we call residual fatigue carried forward. And what that means is, as you complete exercise 1, you bring a little bit of fatigue into exercise 2. When you start number 3, you bring fatigue from exercise 1 and 2, and it just keeps adding up. Okay? I want you to understand that that's designed intentionally. That's why I was very adamant about you holding yourself to a work-rest ratio. 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 3 sets through. Boom, boom, boom. Okay? Now the thing that I want you to think about is when you get done going through this assessment, I want you to ask yourself a simple question. When was the last time I worked this hard on the racetrack? 95% of the athletes I've ever worked with have always said that the plyometric assessment was much harder than what I do on the racetrack. That's perfect. And here's why. One of the biggest mistakes riders make is that they think that they can train at one level and somehow miraculously perform at a different level on race day. Unfortunately, your body will completely retaliate against that mindset. Let me explain why. It's what we call the familiarity principle. If I can get you acclimated to what high intensity training feels like at the appropriate time for a specific duration, i.e. avoid overtraining, the idea here is I want you to get to a place where you get familiar with what riding fast feels like off the track. Then when you go to race, what happens is your race pace is going to feel easy. Now don't misunderstand that. I'm not asking you to sandbag on race day and then leave all your fitness out in the gym. That's actually the opposite. What I want you to do is I want your body to feel comfortable with the load levels that you're asking yourself to sustain, whatever the duration of your race is. Think about the big picture. If you train here and try to race here, there will always be a gap. And that gap will be the part that breaks you on race day. Why? Because you're asking the body to perform at a level that you haven't taught it how to handle it. If you'll just be patient with me for just a second and get into some blood chemistry, there's 2 issues that you run into during high levels of racing. 1, you struggle to get enough oxygen to the working muscles. And 2, you struggle to get rid of the lactic acid that's a byproduct of burning stored sugar. That's why you get that loaded up feeling in your entire body. So what we want to do is through the appropriate volume of cardiovascular fitness, strength training, and then a little bit of speed work, and then some sprint work, layered and integrated with a purpose, looking at making sure that you're not doing too much too soon. What that does is it allows you to train at a level that makes racing start to feel easy. Ricky Carmichael personified this the best. Like he always said, he loved going to the races on the weekend because the weekend was easier than what he did during the week. And I think that shows it. His results speak for themselves. So I want to encourage you to embrace the idea that if you can learn to work by integrating muscles, by learning to work on how to evaluate and literally manage your intensity on the track and off the track with your cross training, concept 2 rowers, bicycles, swimming, running, whatever you want to use as a cross training tool. But once you start to get the relevancy of all those to be in unison with one another, racing becomes easier. You can go as fast and as long as you want. Why? Because you've trained yourself how to do that off the bike. So that's why we use the plyometrics as not only our baseline assessment, but we incorporate those into our everyday strength programs. We don't do them to the point of exhaustion, but we do integrate them so that the body has a chance to adapt and get stronger and faster. So if you have any questions of these videos, any of our concept videos, or any of our explanations, I want you to personally email me. My email address is Robb, R-O-B-B, the number 3 @earthlink.net, and I'll look forward to answering any and all questions that you may have. Thanks for watching.